May 29th, 1991. It is my graduation day from high school. I'm talking with my dad. I'm excited. He looks at me and he goes, "Boy?" I always knew my dad was serious when he called me boy. With my mama, it's like my full name. Now, Thomas Lee Lanham. But with my dad, he just looked at me and he says, "Boy, I never thought I'd live to see this day." Well, that'll give you confidence, right? But he had reason to feel that way. I think it started with my birth. You see, I was born at a very young age. But not quite as young as most, because you see, I was due in 1971. I wasn't born until 1972. January 21st of 72. And when I was born, I was so ugly that my parents refused to buy my baby pictures. Can you understand my struggle? When I was 2 years old, I ran away from home for the first time. Yes, the first time. I was out playing in the yard. We lived in a metropolitan area in northern Kentucky. My mom walked out and she noticed I had learned a new skill. How to open the gate. I was gone. She ran down, "Thomas Lee Lanham!" She ran down the other way, "Thomas Lee Lanham!" She ran back in the house. She called the cops. And when she explained what I was, who I looked like, they said, "Ma'am, I think we found your son." You see, I had walked several blocks away, across a set of railroad tracks, at 2 years old. And I was sitting in a bar, chatting with a couple of chicks. You can understand my issues, can't you? At 5 years old, I set our house on fire. I remember this day. My sister had these Barbie dolls that I hated because she played with them more than she played with me. And so one day, I got one of those Barbie dolls. And I went into my mom and dad's bedroom. And I found me a lighter because there were several people over the house that day. And a lot of them were smoking. Don't smoke. It's bad for your health. I flicked my Bic and don't worry, I'm not really going to set our house on fire. But I set that hair on fire and I threw it on my mom and dad's bed. And I walked back into the living room and sat down and continued watching television. That whole room was in flames before anybody knew it. You see, here I am, a kid so ugly, parents won't buy their pictures. Here I am, a kid that's a runaway. Here I am, a 5-year-old arsonist. It never got better. When I got up into grade school, I failed miserably in my academics. I was one of those kids that I had to struggle just to be average. I always enjoyed going to school. Matter of fact, I enjoyed the 6th grade so well, I took it twice. I can remember the disappointment on my choir teacher's face when she found out that I was not able to participate in one of our choir productions because my grades were so low. I went on to college. I'm one of those guys that squeezed a 4-year degree into 6. Here I am, a 6th grade flunky, a disappointment, a struggler in college. After I graduated college, I came across a guy by the name of Zig Ziglar. It was a tape called How to Be a Winner. And it was in this tape that I first heard this concept. Failure is an event. It is not a person. It's where I first heard this quote, that you were born to win. And if you plan to win and prepare to win, you can legitimately expect to win. It's where I first heard that you can't go back and make a brand new beginning, but you can start now and make a brand new ending. You see, I began to realize that here is where I am, but there is where I'm going. I went on to get my master's degree. Can you believe that? Glutton for punishment, am I? I finished that master's degree in a year and a half with a 4.0. Not bad for a 6th grade flunky. Because I realized that here may be where I am, but there is where I'm going. I don't know where your here is, but I can tell you, you do not have to settle for here. You have a there waiting on you. First of all, you've got to picture it. You've got to envision it. A vision is a picture of the future that stirs up passion within you. And when you do, you're going to come up with excuses. But I'm too old, but I'm too young, but I'm not talented enough, but I'm not smart enough. When you start coming up with all these buts, you need to realize in that moment it is time for a good old-fashioned butt kicking. But I'm not smart enough. Get out of here. But I'm not talented enough. Get out of here. But I'm not old enough. Get out of here. But I'm not young enough. Get out of here. But I'm not good looking enough. Well, just kidding. Get out of here. Then you got to work it. You got to do it. You got to put it into action. And when you do, you will fail. But remember, failure is an event. It is not a person. Just ask yourself every time you fail, what can I learn from this? And then thirdly, you just got to live it. You got to live it. And when you do, you could say, I have found my there, because I did not settle for the here I used to be. If my dad were here right now, I'd look at him and I'd say, boy! Actually, I wouldn't, because I didn't like those good old-fashioned butt kickings. But I would say, sir, you have lived to see this day. And might I add, you ain't seen nothing yet. It's Toastmasters.